Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Football Friday is the best high school football coverage going, and it's presented by Wilson Bank and Trust, your trusted local bank since 1987. By Josh Houston and Associates, a one-source scholastic experience. By Star Physical Therapy, committed to serve. And by Metro Nashville Police Department, serving Nashville with pride. And now, let's get to the action.
And hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a really nice Friday afternoon, given that we're in the first week of November, amazingly good. Tonight begins the TSSAA state playoffs all over Tennessee. And in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, virtually all of the games will begin at 7 p.m. And looking at the forecast, the temperature at that point should be right around 60 degrees, dropping into the upper 50s by the end of games. So all things said, knock on wood, it could be a whole lot worse. Billy Derrick is with me. Billy, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. It's usually a lot colder this time of year, about 10, 15 degrees colder than it's been. But, we've gotten kind of lucky where it's not hot, but, it's kind of sitting in the 70s and upper 60s. But it hasn't gotten dipped down to the 40s very much. So good.
Obviously, I pay a lot of attention to my alma mater, BGA, who plays Knox Webb tonight. Give me 2 or 3 things that kind of stick out for you as we get ready for postseason play.
Yeah, well, we'll start right there, George. Division II AA, BGA, as you said, hosting Knox Webb tonight, who they played earlier this year.
Played them in the opener.
And,
I was there.
And that was a big win for Bobby Bentley and company. But they will play the winner. If BGA wins tonight, they'll play the winner of USJ and Webb School, University School of Jackson, down in Jackson, is the 1 seed.
Yes, I know where that is.
They're the 1 seed. And one of the coaches, I'm not sure if he's the head coach at USJ or an assistant or the OC, is Bo Wallace, former Ole Miss quarterback. He's at USJ.
Wow, okay.
I want to say as the offensive coordinator, and that would be at USJ if everything holds tonight in Jackson for BGA. So that's how that bracket lines up. FRA is hosting Chattanooga Christian tonight, and then CPA, of course, got the 1 seed. They're playing 6 seed CAK. CPA will play the winner of North Point Christian and Knoxville Grace. And then Pope Prep, who's now, they got bumped down to Division II AA. They're playing at Lausanne tonight. So that's what you got in Division II AA. And in 6A, huge bracket. In 6A, 5A, 4A, those are those big old brackets where, it takes a little bit for that to, for them to get all the way down to Chattanooga. But Oakland and Lebanon tonight. Oakland's the 1 seed in the 6A state playoffs. Mount Juliet is hosting Coffee County. Cookeville is at Riverdale. Blackman is at Green Hill. And we're going to talk a lot about that with Blackman head coach Matt Kriesky coming up here in just a second. We'll also talk about that with Tyler Palmateer. Brentwood is hosting Smyrna. Franklin at Antioch. Cane Ridge is at Ravenwood. And then in Division II AAA, the big region, where the most talent is. I'm not trying to be boastful, but those are the private schools. Knoxville Catholic is at MUS. The winner of that will play Baylor, who most people are expecting to win it all. It's either Baylor or McCallie in Division II AAA, and we know the reasons why. They're teams full of Canadian players.
Yes.
So we've talked about that.
Exactly the way it was all designed hundreds of years ago on the high school level.
Would you have ever thought 30 years from now, you'd be sitting here saying Baylor and McCallie?
It's pathetic.
Yeah. Anyway, BA, there's a couple of teams, a couple of matchups that don't play until next week. They got byes. BA is at Father Ryan next week. It'll be a big one. And then Christian Brothers is at McCallie. And then you've also got NBA. NBA's hosting Briarcrest tonight. And NBA's gotten healthier. They got their quarterback back who was hurt at the beginning of the season. The winner of that one between NBA and Briarcrest tonight will play at Ensworth. So look out if NBA win. They beat Ensworth in the playoffs last year, if you remember, George, in a big upset at Ensworth.
Yes,
so
I do remember.
They'll have another opportunity to do that if NBA beats Briarcrest tonight. So that's a look at what we've got, some of the notable games here in the Mid-State.
Okay, as Billy mentioned earlier, Blackman will play Green Hill, which is no relation to Green Hills Shopping Mall. And with that in mind, earlier today, Billy caught up with the head coach at Blackman, Matt Kriesky, and here is that interview.
Hill in the first round of the 6A state playoffs. You guys sitting at 5-5, obviously a tough challenge with a 10-0 Green Hill team who was the 6A Region 4 champion. First off, how's it feel to have the playoffs back? Did it feel like a long season? Did it feel like it went by quick? How's it feel? And I bet the guys are excited about tonight.
And it feel like it went by pretty quick. When you start after the dead period, and it seems like you snap your fingers, blink your eyes, and you hear it's November playoff time. And we're very fortunate sitting here playing in the playoffs this Friday. Got a big test ahead of us tonight at 7, playing Green Hills.
Coach, you guys played both Oakland and Ravenwood really close this season, and not a lot of teams get the chance to play a schedule like you, and I know it may not show in the record, and you guys would have rather won those games, but you feel like you guys are battle-tested and are ready for anything as you head into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we played some pretty tough competition, not only those two teams you mentioned, but also Brentwood and Riverdale. We've played tough. We feel like in each one of those games we were into it, had opportunities to capitalize and win those games. We just didn't. So we're hoping tonight we get put in that situation where, since we've been there, done that, hopefully we'll be able to overcome and finish. That's a big thing we've been preaching after those tough losses, is about finishing, make sure we're playing all 4 quarters.
Coach, let's talk about your offense led by 2 quarterback system, Jonathan Hamby and Marcus Cameron. How have you guys made that work this season? Obviously, 2 quarterback system, that's a little bit of a challenge for defenses to prepare for 2 different style of quarterbacks. Tell us about those 2 guys and how they've been able to lead the way this season.
Yeah, they both have played quite a bit this year. It's been, for us, they both done a great job. It's their first year, both of them starting. Marcus is a sophomore. Jonathan is a junior. So they've both got thrown into action in some really tough games and tough situations, and they've handled it well. And we hope in this point of the season, they're like you said earlier, they're battle tested. They're ready for anything that comes at them, especially against the tough defense that Green Hills has. We're after this long week of practice, hopefully they'll be ready for it.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Green Hill. The Hawks have been rolling behind their quarterback, Cannon Burrows. What stands out to you about what they try to do? Obviously, they haven't lost a game yet this season, but they got to face up with your defense this season. What will it take to limit their offense and get the win tonight?
We're going to have to slow him down. As you said, he's very athletic. He's been able to throw it and also run it. When you have a dual threat quarterback in high school, that's pretty tough to stop. And so, we'll have to be ready for that. And he has a lot of weapons, outside a receiver and a running back that he's able to get the ball around. So they have multiple guys that you have to focus on, not just one, not just him, but, they're very, very, very athletic. And what they do on offense, they do it really well.
Obviously, as a head coach, you never want to look ahead to your next potential game. But if you guys win, you've got either Cookeville or Riverdale. Also on your side of the bracket, you got teams like Oakland and Mount Juliet. Speak a little bit on the competition in 6A. Obviously, if you keep winning, it gets tougher. But how have you seen that competition level change over the years? There's always been the Oakland, the Riverdales, and the Mount Juliet types. But how have you seen this region grow, and how has this state playoffs for you guys gotten a little bit tougher?
Yeah, I mean, every team that you play from here on out, it's going to be tough. Every team that you just mentioned is well coached, and they're They're a really good football team. And so, each and every week, you can't have a week off. Not this time of year. You got to be ready to play. You got to be focused and be able to get the job done on Friday night. If we're able to win tonight, then we have a really tough opponent next week between Cookeville and Riverdale, like you said.
Well, and that would be a chance, obviously, to face off with your brother Will, obviously the head coach there at Riverdale. What's that been like? Obviously, growing up together. Now you guys are coaching against each other. Is there much smack talk between you guys? Like, what's that dynamic like when you get to face off with them, but also just sharing tips here, there, and making sure each other's growing as head coaches.
Yeah, it's not much smack talking. I think it's more between our kids and then us. It's more stressful week than anything for us. But yeah, being in the same region is kind of tough. But it's also at the same time, when we're playing a different opponent that they've already played, we're able to pick his brain and talk to some of the coaches and see what they've did during that week to be successful. And so, we're able to do that. And, just being able to lean on each other in different types of situations, because being a head coach in these days' time, it's tough, and but also at the same time, it's fun being able to work with kids.
Obviously, playoffs getting rolling all across the state tonight. What are you most excited to see from your team this season? Obviously, it's a fresh start. A lot of people call it a new season. Everybody's 0-0 to start a brand new season. What are you most excited to see out of your group tonight?
Just to see how we play tonight. That we've been preaching since last January. We wanted game 11. And that was our goal this year, to get game 11. So we're here. And then, like all week, we said everyone's 0-0 from here on out. You want to be 1-0 on Friday. So that's our goal. Excited to see how the defense comes out and plays. Excited how our guys are going to execute on offense, and playing the 10-0 Green Hill team. See if we're ready for the challenge.
That's Blackman head coach Matt Kriesky. Blackman's got a big one at Green Hill in the 6A state playoffs getting kicked off tonight. Coach, good luck tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully it's a big win for you guys tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on.
Okay, that interview brought to you as part of our Football Friday coverage by Josh Houston and Associates. Billy, I got to laugh a little bit at the whole brother versus brother kind of stuff. As a young broadcaster, I dealt with that, I want to say in 1984, in a Vanderbilt-Tulane game where Watson Brown and Mac Brown went up against each other. And then, of course, a lot of people will remember the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens that involved Jim Harbaugh in San Fran, John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens. And the Friday before they played in the Super Bowl, I had Jack and Jackie Harbaugh on the air to talk about it.
Well, the parents get more of a kick out of it than anybody.
Oh, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
No, I think they hate it. I think they absolutely dread. First of all, when they get there, they don't know who to root for. Right. If one does well, the other's not doing well. No, Jackie made it clear to me
she
that
was uncomfortable.
Oh, she wasn't enjoying this at all. Now, I think they were both very proud. If you think of the odds of raising two sons that ultimately will play each other in the Super Bowl, I mean, imagine the odds of that.
Yeah, that's never going to happen again. Probably won't ever happen again. And that's the highest level, brother versus brother.
Couple of things before we go to the break. First of all, when Terry McCormick joins us today at 4 o'clock for his Daily Titans update, he will tell you that Will Levis will be the starting quarterback Sunday when the Titans travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. That's item number one. Here's item number two. I've been kind of checking the weather a little bit. I think it's fairly certain, based on what we're seeing out of the projection models. Listen to me like I'm a meteorologist. Models. Oh, yeah. Very likely that there will be rain during the Vanderbilt, South Carolina game. Will it be raining when it starts? Not sure, but at some point, very likely that there will be rain, and it's very likely at some point up in Knoxville, the Tennessee and Mississippi State will also have a little precip.
Yeah, I think some SEC locations are missing it. Like the front, I know Texas is going through tonight, so they'll miss it. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, their game's in Austin.
Right, Oklahoma and Missouri, I think, should be fine. But really, everybody else, Ole Miss, Georgia will probably be a little wet as well. LSU, it's going to be muggy down there, so it's going to be a rain-soaked weekend.
It'll be not only will it be muggy, it'll be drunk.
Yes.
Okay, so our coverage of Football Friday will continue after the break. Tyler Palmateer will join us, subbing today for George Robinson from the Tennessean. And then later in the hour, we will have our Star Physical Therapy Health Moment, and that is always good stuff. Today, it will start with when and when not to tape ankles. How about that?
I like it.
Yeah. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
This Saturday, 5:30 for the pregame show, 6 o'clock tip-off from Abilene, Texas. Middle Tennessee and Abilene Christian here on the Blue Raider Network.
93.3 FM. Totally hits. Totally Nashville.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back and about to be joined by a familiar face and voice. My guess is that Tyler Palmateer, well, he may have drawn the short straw. filling in today for George Robinson. Tyler, how are you?
I'm good, guys. Great to hear your voice, George.
Hey, same here as well. You have covered a lot of football for a good while all over the Middle Tennessee area, the state of Tennessee. How different is playoff football in your mind than regular season?
Well, I guess obviously, it's just you lose, you're done with your season's over. You're moving on to basketball or whatever, getting your wrestling singlet out, or maybe you're just done with sports. I mean, the first couple weeks, I guess it depends on what round. You've got some kind of lopsided games, but these, obviously the really interesting ones are always the, kind of the two middle seeds, the twos versus the threes. And there's some really good ones in the first round usually. So those, I think you really see some playoff intensity. Some of the others, maybe not so much, because again, you've still got some of the favorites out there just don't really have too big of a challenge in the first round, but definitely see an increase in intensity, and if the weather's nice, you're still going to get definitely some good crowds.
Yeah, the weather looks like it's going to be good. Now, obviously, you can only be in one place at one time. If you could somehow snap your finger and be 2 or 3 different places, where would those be tonight?
Yeah, well, I'll be at Franklin Antioch, which is a really interesting game between a couple teams that both really looking for their first playoff wins in a while. I think that one's fun. I think the best game in the area is Green Hill and Blackman. Blackman losing last week to Coffee County, and then having to, getting the 4th seed, got to play Green Hill. But I mean, I saw Blackman really give Ravenwood a good game, and Brentwood. Of course, Ravenwood's now number 1, and then we know Blackman was just a whisker away from beating Oakland. So that's a team now at 5-5 that I'm just looking at, and it's like, man, that's not a team I would want to draw in the first round at all. And so I think that could be a competitive game, and I think Blackman's crowd could travel for that because I think they know it. Centennial Lincoln County looks good. That's one of those, those 2 versus 3s where you've got kind of a Williamson County team and Centennial that's had a little bit of struggles, and then Lincoln County's been explosive. So you could see maybe Centennial's on the road. You could maybe see the road team pull an upset there. I kind of like Tullahoma at Nolensville for the same reason. That's a similar the 2 versus 3 where that could be really close. I think that one will be close. And those are kind of the ones I would. Cookeville at Riverdale maybe. I think Riverdale should have no problem there. So, but I think the ones I mentioned those are a couple others I'd like to be at.
Which is good to hear. We had Blackman's head football coach Matt Kriesky on earlier. Billy, I'll let you kind of take it. Say hello to Tyler.
Tyler, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey, Billy. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, let's get a little bit deeper into Blackman and Green Hill. Talking to Coach Kriesky, he feels confident. I mean, they've been battle-tested, kind of like you were hinting at this season. A little surprised they ended up losing there to Coffee County and getting that 4 seed and having to play at Green Hill. But, I mean, like you were talking about earlier, feels like Blackman matches up well. And if they win, they play either Cookeville or Riverdale. And you know who Coach Kriesky is, his brother's at Riverdale, so that would be an interesting matchup. But like you said earlier, Tyler, I think Blackman's got a shot tonight.
Yeah, I would love to see another Kriesky clash. I don't know if that nickname hasn't been coined yet. Maybe it has. I want credit for it. But I think, Blackman, Green Hill, Blackman's big up front. They've got, especially on their defensive line, got some guys that can really be disruptive. Jaden Guy at receiver really has been he's been one of the better receivers I've seen all year. Not to get too hyperbolic there, but has some breakaway speed, has good hands, and he's just a guy you just don't want to get allowed to get behind you, or even with your secondary there in the next level, because he can win foot races. And Blackman's really big issue has been closing games. I've mentioned the close games they've been in. Well, you got to win those, and you got to find a way to finish those off. So if this game gets close again, and Green Hill, obviously, with its, Cannon Burrows had a fantastic year at quarterback. He's a Mr. Football semifinalist. It's not a team you really want to mess around with, maybe get into in the closing minutes with, because they're 10-0. They can close games. Hadn't been a brutally hard schedule, but and this is the time. And you've got to finish, especially if it's in the playoffs. So I think that's a really interesting matchup. We'll see if it's as interesting as some of us think at the end of the night. But at least on paper, that's a really intriguing game, and just kind of even in name only. With Blackman and with Green Hill, which has had such a good program, even though it's young, really neat first round matchup.
Antioch's been a really interesting story this year, Tyler, and they've got a ton of talent. The Adams family, I think it is, that's running the show over there. They've got Franklin tonight, but they are hosting Franklin. So what are you expecting in that one? Because man, it'd be fun to see. And not that I'm rooting, but it would be fun to see Antioch and that story continue.
Yeah, I don't know quite what to expect. I mean, I saw Antioch at Mount Juliet earlier this year, and it was not a close game. And Antioch had some issues kind of just, getting the ball snapped at times. When that offense takes off under Andre Adams, he's just a sophomore, but he's a really good quarterback. He's got a Colorado offer. He's very talented. He and Brandon Galladay have connected really well lately. They racked up about 450 yards of offense together a couple of weeks ago. That could be an electric team, but you just got to avoid those big mistakes that kind of limited them at Mount Juliet. But certainly the talent on the field, Takai and Whitsett, of course, an NC State commitment on the line on both sides is another talented player. So just got to make sure you limit those mistakes and keep yourself in the game, because Franklin's really good. I've seen them I say really good. I mean, they're solid. I mean, I like the way they play. Josh Adkins done a great job with that program. Luke Thompson's one of the best defensive backs I've seen this year, I think. And it's a good team. And I don't know. I think it's interesting either way, because you're talking about Franklin that went through a long losing stretch until this year, kind of been down in the dumps, hasn't won a playoff game since I think maybe 2020, if I'm correct. And then Antioch hasn't won one since 2007. So somebody is going to complete a turnaround on some kind of a level after tonight, no matter what happens. So it'll be interesting to see. And Antioch's hosting for the second straight year. So I know that's a program that's ready to celebrate a playoff victory.
Let's go to Nolensville, who's hosting Tullahoma, as you mentioned tonight. Coach Derek over there trying to keep their playoff streak rolling. But if they win, they'll likely play Shelbyville. So they're in, the 2-3 game there. If you're seeded 2 or 3, if you win, you're in a tough spot. You got to play the 1 seed most likely on the road. So, but we've seen upsets before. Just for Nolensville, how do you think they line up here? And I don't know if you've seen much of Shelbyville, but what could we expect there, and especially if they were able to beat Tullahoma tonight?
Yeah, well, for Nolensville, just even starting tonight, it's going to be about just got to find a way to get some points on the board. Kind of been a struggle to do that the last couple of weeks. I know Page really handed it to Nolensville last week. Of course, Page has kind of handed it to everybody, but Nolensville shut out in that game and then scored somewhere, I think, just around 10 to 13 points, I think, against Summit before that in a loss. So just, find a way to get some confidence and get some offense going in order to get past Tullahoma. I think that's going to be really important. I think this could be a close game. Nolensville is a program with state semifinal appearances and region championships in the last 5 years. Just find a way to get some of that confidence back and compete and get past first round, because Tullahoma's got a good defense. And Shelbyville's got a great offense. You get to the next round, you figure out a way to get past this one. You really got to figure out a way to score, because I think whoever faces Shelbyville is you're going to need some defense, but I think you're going to need to put points on the board.
All right, in that same bracket, that 6A bracket, Centennial at Lincoln County, like you mentioned, the winner of that has to go play Page, most likely, who has just rolled through the 6A playoffs the last several years. It's incredible the run Page has been on. But that's an interesting matchup. Feels like Lincoln County is better than they've been in the past. That's not going to be easy for Centennial tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of almost the same thing with Centennial. 10 points or less for the Cougars in 4 of the last 6 games. You got to figure out a way to score. I mean, you just have to. Lincoln County averages 31 a game. Can be very dangerous offensively, you know, as you had mentioned. And for whatever reason, you know, Centennial's got a great player in Kenai Johnson. And, you know, they have some weapons, but you're going to have to figure out a way to keep up with this one, you know, against Lincoln County, because, you know, it's been a solid offense. There've been a lot of, a lot of games, I guess. I didn't know much about Lincoln County going into the year, but they were a bit of a surprise to me. So I think you definitely have to figure out a way to put some points up. Brett Dobbs is a great running back for them. He's had a big year. Carson Carter, also good. And just 2 guys are going to be able to run the ball on you. So if they get a lead, they may just lean on you and just kind of run some clock out.
All right, let's go a little bit lower here. DCA hosting Tipton Rosemark. DCA, what interests you in that one tonight?
Well, DCA's got a great offense. We've been writing about those guys for, I feel like, 5 years. You know, quarterback Mitchell Carey has just racked up tons of yards and touchdowns over the last few years. Grayson Scragg's been a great receiver. He's going to be over 1,000 yards by the time the year's done. And of course, they've got a Tennessee commitment in Carson Sneed at tight end, who he's got 6 touchdowns, but I don't know if he's not necessarily a major offensive threat. I mean, I wouldn't call him that. He can catch the ball, but that's not necessarily what the offense is designed to do. So that's kind of the team I would think would get to the next round. But what makes this interesting is Nick Fullen for Tipton Rosemark is approaching 2,000 yards rushing already. So you've got really one of the best offensive players opposite you, who is, you know, if all of a sudden that's a team that gets a big night from Fullen and can run the ball and get a lead, you know, all of a sudden just things like time of possession become important. DCA and Mitchell Carey and those guys, if they can't get the ball back, how are you going to come back in a game like that? So really, really cool just in general, I guess, to see that many guys. You know, you combine all their yardage and all their touchdowns, it's super high numbers. So that could be at a really electric score.
All right, I want to go one more area with you here. Division II AAA, I want to say is going to be interesting, but I mean, it really does feel like McCallie and Baylor, are likely going to meet again. I mean, no one's been able to stop them other than, when they played this year. MUS hosting Knox Catholic tonight. BA and Father Ryan next week. Christian Brothers is at McCallie next week. But what interests me, Tyler, in Division II AAA is NBA. NBA's got their quarterback back. They're a little bit healthier. And I know this still isn't the same NBA we're used to over the last several years, really since Marty Uverard's been there. But they are a playoff pedigree program. I would expect them. Now, Briarcrest, it's nothing against Briarcrest. I would expect NBA to win tonight and give Ensworth a really good fight next week, because that's who they play if they win. But what does your outline look like here for Division II AAA?
Yeah, well, you kind of hit it on the head. I think it all comes kind of down to I think we all think Baylor is going to get to the championship game, and they're that good. I think it's a far and away a favorite to get there and win. And then on the other side, you basically have to ask yourself, can NBA get itself to play Ensworth, and can maybe Ensworth get over that hump? NBA's been to the state semifinals 12 straight times. I mean, like you said, it's built for the playoffs, and Hugh Price is back. He's a quarterback with an offer from Michigan who we haven't said his name at all this year because of his injury. So you wonder, this is the time when NBA plays its best. To me, I guess say we all, to me, what I'm waiting to see is, I think NBA is going to win tonight. I think we'll see NBA Ensworth next week. Can Ensworth get over that hump, beat NBA, and then host McCallie for a chance to get to its first state championship game since, I think 2014. So I could be wrong. But that to me is a very intriguing pass. Whether or not a team from Middle can can get into that championship game. Now, whether it's NBA, I mean, I don't know. I think that would take a pretty big run. But I think NBA Innsworth could be interesting. And if you're Innsworth, you just got to be thinking, man. I mean, NBA beat them on a field goal last year in overtime, and they just stole that game away at Innsworth. And I don't even know if they had a winning record then at the time. It was close. So, yeah, I guess that's what I'm intrigued to see that. What I think is we'll see an Innsworth-McCauley semifinal in Nashville, and it'll be really interesting to see if Innsworth can win, because I don't think McCauley's quite as good as they've been in the past.
Tyler, you were a good man to put up with all of this. It's an exciting time of the year, round one of the playoffs tonight. Thanks, as always, for the visit.
Happy to do it, guys. Thanks.
Take care, Tyler. Have a good weekend.
You too.
He'll have a busy weekend, I'll guarantee you, with all this football going on.
Oh, yeah.
Couple of things. Again, I keep looking at the forecast, and the rain looks like it moves in early tomorrow afternoon, which would appear to affect both the Vandy, South Carolina game, and then later that night with a 6:45 kickoff, Tennessee hosting Mississippi State at Neyland Stadium. We'll go to the break. When we come back, it's the Star Physical Therapy Health Moment, and this just in. I won't be the one giving out all the pointers. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks, and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancoast Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, part of what we do on Football Friday is try to do a little educating, and nobody needs it more than I do. Holly Taylor helps us with, we call it the Health Minute. It's more a health segment. Holly, how are you?
Good. How's it going, George?
Good. So you texted me earlier today, and I'm going to read the text. I'll be taping athletes, if you don't mind me multitasking. So I got to ask this question. It's a dumb one. But people need to know, when should athletes get ankles taped and when shouldn't they?
I think it's a good idea after, especially ankle injuries. That's kind of a big one we see. There's some really good thumb, wrist, hand tape jobs if they've got any injuries there that we can use to help support those areas. When it comes to, supporting a joint more prophylactically where they don't have an injury, braces can really be a good thing there.
So when I was in school and I realized that was in the dark ages, I got a lot of sprained ankles playing basketball, and they hurt like the devil. They might as well be broken for the amount of pain that you end up getting. But I've always been told that when you sprain an ankle, that the likelihood of you doing it again is pretty, it's pretty high. Why is that?
It is. And so, the great thing about our bodies, like when you break a bone, is bone replaces bone. But when you sprain a ligament or you strain a tendon for a muscle, that gets repaired by just scar tissue. And that scar tissue will never be as strong as the original tissue to begin with.
Whatever the case, it causes a lot of pain.
It does. It causes a lot of pain. And that's where rehab can really come in play for people who sprain an ankle, because you lose some of your, they call it proprioception, where something is in space. That's why, you have a fresh sprained ankle, you're walking along and all of a sudden you step on a rock, something crazy small, and all of a sudden you're tweaking it again. Yeah, because those muscles just aren't back to normal, and those nerves aren't back to normal yet to safely catch yourself in those kind of scenarios.
I want to hopscotch around a little bit because there's an injury that I know virtually nothing about, and I want to read you what I've got on it. The Dallas Morning News reports Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboy quarterback, suffered a partial avulsion, I had never heard that word before, of his right hamstring tendon, an injury severe enough that team officials are trying to determine if he needs surgery on the portion of the tendon that is torn from the bone. First of all, that just gives me the creeps hearing that. And the story out of the Dallas Morning News goes on to say, if the surgery is necessary, it will reportedly end Dak Prescott's season. Talk to me about what's going on there, because I got to admit, I've heard a lot of hamstring kind of stuff. I don't know that I've ever heard this.
Yeah, so what's going on is, a muscle, when you talk about the muscle belly itself, the muscle tissue itself is not attached to the bone. That's the tendon on each end, just like a ligament attaches bone to bone. And so what can happen is instead of the tendon itself tearing, or the muscle itself tearing, what happens is where that tendon attaches to the bone, it just pulls that piece of bone clean off.
Ugh. So, I mean, that sounds like the worst of that injury that you could have. Am I right?
It can be. And usually it's pretty debilitating. And, sometimes they require surgery, sometimes they don't. It really depends on how far away that bone has pulled from where it originally was. But sometimes if it pulls quite a far, distance enough away, they'll go in and do surgery and basically pin it back to where it should be.
I don't know if you've seen the play. It looks pretty innocent. And, you see him kind of feel, okay, I've pulled something. This was a week ago in Atlanta, and obviously he knows it's serious, and they, take him into the tent. But talk to me about how that gets caused.
When there is enough force going on that's being put onto that hamstring, depending on, the fulcrum point of where that's at on, the whole unit from, top to bottom is going to kind of determine where the injury happens at. And so it could have been that he was maybe at, end of range of motion for the hamstring itself, to where, that was the last point to give, because that's where most of the pressure was at the time.
Okay, last really dumb question. Is that a thing where you say, okay, Dak, you haven't been stretching enough? Is there anything he could have done that prevents that?
I mean, there's always the possibility that he was tight to begin with, but, honestly, a lot of times it can be just one of those crazy situations where, you make that extra cut that's maybe your foot's a little too far out, that, no matter how much range of motion or stretch flexibility you had, something's going to give.
And in this case, something gave.
Something gave, yeah.
And it gave big time.
Yeah.
Holly, go back to taping those ankles. I'm guessing that you are a pro at that by now.
I hope so. Nobody's complained to turn me in yet.
Yeah, you've done a few thousand of those, haven't you?
Just a few, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, stay safe. Have a good weekend and stay dry if you can.
Thanks, George. You too. Appreciate you.
Holly Taylor from Star Physical Therapy joining us to talk injuries. So, Billy, do not be surprised when the backup Cooper Rush comes in Dallas, does a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did. Was that last year?
Yeah.
He came in and Cowboys started winning games. But to turn the page a little bit, I got a question for you, George.
Okay.
So, obviously, next week, Georgia hosting Tennessee.
Yeah.
We've got an early line out on that game.
What
do you think?
Guess Georgia somewhere between 4.5 and 6.
Georgia 8.5.
Wow.
8.5-point favorite. I would guess that goes down, if anything. I mean, I don't think that would go up. But that's an early line.
Yeah, but, I mean, tell me what goes on at Ole Miss.
Right. That'll probably have something to do with it.
By the way, the SEC, when you look at games of the day, they've got 3 bang,
Godzillas.
bang, bang. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Florida, Texas is going to be, because I don't think it is. Maybe before the season started, that one looked really attractive. At 2:30, you got Ole Miss and Georgia. At 6:30, you've got Alabama at LSU. And I would contend that if you want to see the dirtiest holy war in the history of dirty holy wars, Utah BYU at Utah, 9:15 tomorrow night. You want to see the most underrated, intense rivalry in college football. That is it. For two schools that, like to give you a lot of God in the middle of it, They hate each other.
That's going to be ugly. Another one in the SEC, Vandy, South Carolina. That game started at 3.5 in favor of South Carolina. It's up to 6.5.
Okay, and here's what I think is going on, although I could be dead wrong. When Vegas moves a line that much, it's because a high percentage of the bets are going on whichever way that line's moving. It's moving up towards South Carolina at a higher number, which means a lot of people are betting South Carolina. Why are they doing that? It could be two things. Number one, it could be on the heels of a great performance a week ago against A&M. I would hesitate to necessarily buy into that one because South Carolina was at a fever pitch that there is no way they bring to the table tomorrow. The other may be the belief that Vandy has sort of hit a wall.
Yeah.
Now, is that true? Heck, I don't know. The people betting don't know. But that's their suspicion that, okay, they've gone through, help me with this, since the first bye week, who all have they played?
Vandy?
Yeah.
They've played Kentucky. They've played Texas. They've played Ball State.
Wait a minute. So it was Alabama, then a bye week?
I'm trying to figure that out.
This is good radio.
Yeah, nice radio silence.
It is.
It's been 6 straight games. That's what it's been.
Except that what you're looking at is a year ago.
For whatever the case, Vandy has played 6 straight games. They had a bye before Alabama, and they've played 6 straight games.
Okay. Alabama, Kentucky, Ball State, Texas, at Auburn, and now South Carolina tomorrow. So it could well be that the people that are betting this, that are moving this line, because a 3-point swing is pretty major, and that's the bettors telling you that they think Vandy's about to run out of gas. Don't know.
I don't get why people keep, because that's what they said last week about the Auburn game. There were a lot of people. Auburn was a 6.5-point favorite.
Billy, it's what makes betting interesting.
I mean, that's easy money on the Vandy side.
People, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Do you know that for sure?
I don't know it.
Then I suggest, based on what you make on this show, that you just put it all on whatever you believe. Hey, we'll go to the break. When we come back, it'll be stat of the day on a week where we've done okay, but not nearly as good as a week or two ago when we were killing it. Then Terry McCormick will join us to start the 4 o'clock hour. If you have not heard the news, Will Levis will start Sunday in Los Angeles against the Chargers. Mark McGee will join us around 4:20, where we throw up our hands and we say, what the hell is going on with the Preds? They have bottomed out. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company. Products, We strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join mnpd.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Is Jordan Love worse than he should be right now?
How can you not say that? He is. You know what it is? It's reminding me of shades of the conversations we had around Josh Allen last year, that he's really good and will put your team in a position to win. But also there's that moment where he can put his team in a position to lose, or at least put his team at a deficit.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Jared Goff's my MVP right now. Lamar's been outstanding. But when I look at this Detroit Lions offense and the way that Jared Goff has been handling his business, I am so impressed with him. And I know that this Lions team would not be in the position that they're in without Jared Goff. He's been unbelievable.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. You can't miss a moment with Greeny.
If I had a vote for MVP to this point, I would give it to Jaden Daniels. He has given them a belief they didn't previously have. He's had Heisman moments. He has completely changed the entire trajectory of an organization through this play and the force of his leadership and personality. My midseason MVP is Jaden Daniels.
Mike Greenberg. Green.
It's a picture of a shower. And he said, and I quote, "This is what I built with the money you paid me to do the book. So I'll think of you every time I use it." He just spoke those words aloud. They cannot be unspoken. That is a sentence that can never be unheard. That is now an image that can never be unseen. I think it has to mean the end of our friendship.
Greeny. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
All right, we're talking Titans with Terry McCormick coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. They got 3 locations, one in Old Hickory, one in Hendersonville, and one in Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website, applecollisioncenters.com. All right, here we go. Stat of the day. Jamar Chase is second all-time for most career touchdown receptions of 50-plus yards before turning 25 years old. Which player has the most all-time?
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Yes.
So, I need a little bit of a hint. Are we talking about a player in the last 10 years?
I mean, last 20 years.
Last 20 years. So an easy one to throw out there, obviously, would be Jerry Rice. That seems a little more distant than that. Gosh. You know, this one goes way back. The first name I came up with was Bullet Bob Hayes of the Dallas Cowboys.
Bullet Bob Hayes.
Yeah. I don't have a clue. And I tell you what, let's stall this one out for a minute.
And dump it in Terry's lap?
Dump it in Terry's lap when he comes on here in a minute, because that is hard.
Yeah, that's
It's
tough.
hard, and, you know, I guess another name that pops into my head is Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
But I want to see what he comes up with.
So you don't want the answer yet?
No, I don't. And in fact, I see Terry ready and raring to go. He'll be glad to know that I've dropped this hemorrhoid in his lap. Terry, how are you?
I'm good. What do you need, George?
Okay. Have you seen stat of the day?
I have not. I'm looking at it right here.
Okay.
We're turning 25. This player has the most all time.
So Jerry Rice seemed like one. I thought of Randy Moss.
Moss makes a lot of sense to me because he was especially early for the first 5 or 6 years of his career, he was an amazing deep threat.
Show us Randy Moss.
Correct.
Oh my God. I feel like I've accomplished something.
Do I get an assist?
Absolutely, Terry. It's a miracle.
There are no flags on the field.
Wow. I got one. Well, he was a holy terror early. There's no doubt about that. And then sort of had a great finish to it with the stuff with New England.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we sort of, previewed it a few minutes ago that Will Levis is going to be the starter Sunday. And barring injury, Terry, I'm assuming that what we're really into now is what we've talked about all week. This is just cutting through all the crap. It's a 9-week tryout for Will Levis to determine whether he is the Titans starting quarterback of the future or whether he's Kenny Pickett to be exiled to some other team for the start of next season. Is it that simple?
I think it's pretty close to that, George. I mean, they could always keep him around and have somebody, as we talked about yesterday, come in and compete with him or keep him as a backup, through the duration of his rookie contract if it doesn't do enough to show that he can be their guy. But
okay, stop there. I want to ask this, though, because you threw that same option out there a year ago. Do you not think that creates, if that scenario plays out, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but does that not create incredible distraction?
Maybe, maybe not. I guess it all depends on what kind of team guy Levis is. And I think he's, I think obviously, anybody who's in that locker room wants to be a starter. But, you may be right. But I think that, given the situation that the Titans are in, they're not going to necessarily accommodate Levis if he's not the guy. But Levis still owes them 2 years on a contract if he's not the guy. So why wouldn't you keep him at a cheap rate rather than have to go find somebody else that might cost you more money just to be a backup? Because do you really want to bring in 2 quarterbacks?
So, Terry, obviously, in dealing with sports talk radio, this guy has gotten discussed more than any athlete in this city, maybe with the exception of Diego Pavia. But clearly, he's been under a microscope, and the fans are all sitting there going, he hasn't shown enough at this point to warrant any level of confidence for next year. Do you think the Titans see it differently than that at all?
Well, to hear them talk about it, both publicly and privately, they still feel like he's got a very high upside. And I think what they're hoping for is that he can somehow tap into that over these last 9 games. Because I think they see the arm talent and they say that that's elite. And it, probably is when he's fully healthy. I think what it boils down to is, can his decision-making and taking care of the football improve enough now that this offense has started to gel a little bit, can he fit right in and hit the ground running as opposed to this offense taking a step back, the way it was and look the way it looked early in the year when everything looked out of sync.
Okay, your gut feeling, can he?
My gut feeling is that he shows steady improvement. That's my gut feeling. He's looked good in the time that we've seen him be able to throw this week in practice. And honestly, I think that this little time on the sidelines, rehabbing and nursing this injury may have taught him something. It may have taught him that these opportunities are very, very fragile. And because they're very fragile, you better do everything you can in your power to make the best of it, because you don't ever know when the next one will come. So if he's learned that lesson and he's learned to, he may learn to harness some of this talent that he has. And, I guess the question will be, how much is enough in the eyes of the Titans? If he goes out and they win 3 games of the last 9, is that enough? I guess it would depend on if you think they're competitive in most of the games. If they're in games and they're losing 27-23, and they feel like that with a little more seasoning and a little bit more talent around him in other areas, that might be good enough. But if they're going out there and they're getting beat 38-10 on a regular basis, then they're probably going to pull the plug.
Okay, but let me argue that the wins and losses, that's not the thing here. It's how does he play?
Right. Well, that's not the thing. But part of growing into being a franchise quarterback is learning how to win. And
but let's be honest, Terry, this whole team needs to learn how to win. This coaching staff needs to learn how to win.
Sure.
Their special teams needs to learn how to win. That can't be all thrown at him if we're being fair.
It cannot. You're exactly right. But what I'm saying is this is a team that's not won 2 games in a row in 2 years. You believe that?
God.
They have not won 2 games in a row since they beat Green Bay on that Thursday night game. There right before Todd Downing got the DUI, and then everything just kind of caved in.
Yes, Mr. Downing.
But anyway, that's beside the point. We're talking about Levis here. And to me, part of becoming a franchise quarterback is that when the opportunity presents itself to go down and win a ball game, you put your team in position to win that ball game. And I'm not saying that, every opportunity has to result in a win. Joe Burrow put the Bengals in position to win a game last night. They didn't, because they decided to go for 2, and the officials decided that would be a good time to miss a hands to the face penalty on Burrow. So there you have it. But if Levis if he shows poise in those types of situations, I think that's really where you measure a franchise quarterback. He doesn't have to be a hero for 60 plays, but he has to be a hero for 6 plays if that's what you need to win a ball game.
Okay, last thing on this subject, and this is very cynical on my end. Do you believe the Titans really believe what they're putting out there about Will Levis? Or is it simply Brian Callahan with a gun to his head with no choice but to say it?
There's probably some of that, but I have talked to some people off the record as well, and they still feel like that this guy, that he can, if he gets the opportunity and he can seize upon the opportunity, that they have their guy. It's just a matter of how much can he progress over the next 2 months.
Well, I'll say this. I wish him a lot of luck. The sad part right now is, based on fan reaction, the fans don't believe in him.
No, you're right. They don't. But I will remind you of this too, George, and I'm not saying he can get to this level, but last year at this time, a lot of folks in Green Bay were out on Jordan Love.
That's a good point.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, sure is. Terry, enjoy your weekend.
All right, you too, George. Have a good one.
But try to behave.
I will.
See ya. Thanks for not wearing that nasty hat.
Oh, it's out in my truck. Sorry.
It's where it needs to stay. See ya.
See ya.
Okay, Billy. So I was a little bit of a smart aleck there. about, do the Titans really believe the stuff they're putting out there about Will Levis, or is it from orders from above that they don't really have any choice?
It's probably from orders from above.
Well,
that would be my guess.
Okay. Do you have an update of some substance?
It's got some substance today.
Does it really?
We got a lot going on, and it's brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can log on to mortgageladyyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Well, the Preds lose another game last night, and they gave up 6 goals to the reigning Stanley Cup champs, the Florida Panthers. 6-2 loss. When are they back in action tomorrow?
Yes, against the Utah Stormin' Mormons.
No.
Well, that's my nickname for them.
It's the Utah Hockey Club.
Whatever, and the Washington football team. So here's what is really bothering me. Last night was another night where they weren't the least bit competitive. It was 2-0 before the lady that sung the anthem said, "And the home of the brave." I mean, it was over early. They got the crap kicked out of them. And at some point, something's got to give soon. Because if it doesn't give soon, you're going to get in December with a team that can't make the playoffs. And you put that out there, you can't sell tickets.
It's a business.
It's a cruel business.
Preds are now 4-9-1, and I saw a stat from last night in regards to their game. They had as many penalty minutes as what was the? Did you see that one?
Oh, I don't know. What's going on is disgraceful. These guys ought to be ashamed of what they're putting out there right now.
They finished the night with more penalty minutes than shots on goal.
It's pitiful.
Well, some positive Preds news. David Poile and Shea Weber are among the Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2024, joining Paul Kariya, Phil Housley, and Peter Forsberg.
Okay, a couple of thoughts, because these are guys that I covered pretty extensively. First of all, my congratulations to both of them. David Poile is the son of a hockey legend in Bud Poile, 30-year-plus career on his end as an NHL general manager. Thrilled for him. Shea Weber, my Toronto Blue Jay fan. God, how many times did we sit around talking about the Blue Jays? I used to laugh and used to kid Shea. Shea was not the best interview you ever did, because on purpose he would tell you absolutely nothing. But get him away from all of it talking baseball, and Shea Weber was a ton of fun. Shea, not that I think you're out there listening, but congratulations, my friend. It's well-deserved.
That's cool.
It is very cool.
NFL last night, Ravens beat the Bengals 35-34. Joe Burrow, 428 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 264 yards and 3 touchdowns, but it still wasn't enough to beat the Ravens.
So they went for 2 with under a minute to play, and, this go for 2 thing came up on Monday when Tampa Bay did not do such in Kansas City. I guess I wonder if the decision last night was swayed by that.
I think it might have been, and I didn't mind the decision by the Bengals, but the refs missed 3 calls. There was hands to the face on Joe Burrow. There was pass interference, and there was another pass interference. They didn't call it. And then Al Michaels was right at the end of the game. He said too many games end like this, or ending like this.
Right.
With referees deciding the game.
Or
that should have been called.
Yeah.
College football last night. Coastal Carolina beats App State 38-24. Big win for them. That was at home. East Carolina all over FAU 49-14. You got a few games tonight. California is at Wake Forest, 7 o'clock on the ACC network. Iowa at UCLA, 8 o'clock on Fox. That could be a good one. And then Memphis hosting Rice, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. Also in college basketball, awful news here. According to a report, Florida men's basketball coach Todd Golden has been accused by an unknown number of women of sexual harassment and stalking, according to Florida's student newspaper, The Alligator.
Okay, so when you see a report like this, you don't really know what to say other than A, you hope it's not true, and B, if it is true, he won't be Florida's basketball coach much longer. And now they've probably got a mess on their hands. You wonder if the vote of confidence to Billy Napier, the timing of it was knowing full well that this was coming.
That's an interesting part of this. Scott Strickland's got a mess on his hands. It's been a rough week.
Sure does.
In Gainesville. In the span of a week, Florida fans suffered a loss to their starting quarterback due to injury. They find out their football head coach getting retained solely due to moral victories. And they find out their basketball coach just did this. So.
Well, no, hold on a second. Let's be real careful with this, because accused and just did this are two different things. Remember,
that's true.
In our country, when this kind of thing happens, a person is presumed innocent until found guilty. Now, in sports, a lot of times it feels like it goes the other way, that when something like this gets out, that the person is guilty until he can prove,
Well,
we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, that's what's going on with the Gators right now, and that's pretty much what's going on.
Okay, after the break, we'll bring Mark McGee to our microphones and ask him the question, what on God's earth is going on with the Predators? Because it has hit rock bottom. This is 94.9, The Fan.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. It's easy to say good things about the folks at... Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us, because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancos Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancos to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancos Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancosbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
Call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. Here's a fact. The Predators have hit rock bottom, dead last in the Western Conference. And for me, the most disturbing thing is in a span of 8 days, they have laid 3 absolute stink bombs. 2 of them at Bridgestone, where they were outscored by the total of 8-1. And then last night in Florida against the defending Stanley Cup champions, that game was over before the woman finished the anthem, and they got ripped around in a pretty non-competitive fashion last night. So what a perfect time to bring Mark McGee to our microphones. Mark, the thing that concerns me the most is this listless, lifeless stuff that I've been seeing. What is going on?
Well, that's what nobody can figure out. I was with some of the commentators, some of the national guys today, which were talking and said that nobody understands what's happening with them, and there were concerns about nobody can really put a finger on why they're not playing well. They're not going. I mean, like we talked the other day, they don't go after. They don't play with any kind of aggressiveness. They start out a little bit against Florida, but they went quickly out of the way. And I have to give them the Washington game was okay. They lose it 3-2. That was a pretty good game on the road for them. But I kind of saw some positives. But there's just no there's like I said there's just no energy. They just look like they've never played the game before from a fundamental standpoint, and that fundamentals is what's killing them. Making the right play, finding people on the ice. The defense is just clueless. Odd man rushes are killing them. And you look at Sarles and say, you see Sarles and say, he signs that big contract, he should be playing well. And in goal, well, he is playing pretty well in goal, but they're not giving him any help. I mean, up front, they're just not giving him any help. The defense has been horrible. So I mean, he's probably kept them in a couple of games that probably shouldn't have been in because of the way he's played. It's just it's crazy that they can't get anything going. There's no chemistry. There's just no. It's just a listless team to a large extent. And what got me was even after Barry Trotz goes public and says maybe we have to rebuild this team, and that was a kind of a shout out to the team to say, hey, I'm watching you guys, and things have got to get better. They go out and drop the bomb they dropped against Florida last night. So even that didn't even motivate them. So I just don't know.
So
after they play Utah Saturday night, they got 5 games on the West Coast, starting with Colorado, and ending with Seattle, going to the Western Conference up in Western Canada. That's a 2-week trip, and when they come back from that, we're going to know exactly what this team is like. I mean, are they as bad as they look right now, or is there a glimmer of hope?
So as we try to search for things about a team right now that isn't doing anything well, there's nothing positive to report about this team. Is this the coach has lost the locker room?
That's a question. I mean, some people are saying, and Barry's even hinted, he doesn't think that Andrew Burnett's the problem. That right now, but if he can't get them going more from an upbeat energy standpoint and playing like they know what they're doing, I say it is an Andrew Burnett problem. I mean, Andrew Burnett's a good coach. It's just not showing right now what he can do. And, so I don't know if he's lost his team. And there is one positive. Stamkos has started scoring. He's got 3 goals in the last 4 games, something like that. So he has finally started scoring a little bit. So there's one positive there. There are many. You're right. The positives are pretty thin right now.
So what are the theories about the other two? Brady Shea, Jonathan Marchessault, who both look like they've been in the witness protection program.
Shane and Yossi have been a horrible combination as a defensive line. I mean, they have not been a great pairing at all. I've been really shocked at how poor they have played together. Marchessault, a lot of people are feeling like that maybe there's, and Barry mentioned this the other day. He said that this summer he was kind of playing fantasy hockey, coming up with the best players you come up with. Yeah, and maybe he came up with too many players. A lot of people think maybe Marchessault or Stamkos, either one would have been great, but getting both of them might be too much as far as chemistry and the way they played the game. So that's a theory that's out there right now that maybe instead of Barry putting together a team, he put together the best players he could grab, like somebody if they were putting together a fantasy team. And even Barry referenced that the other day. They did fantasy hockey this summer, and so instead of maybe saying how these guys would fit as a team, he was saying, okay, I'm going to get the best players I can find, and then we're going to put them all together, and it's all going to be okay. And so far,
Guy, for the most part, I give him a free pass on a lot of this because I really like the fact that a Preds general manager came out and said, screw this 8th place crap. I'm trying to win a world title in a city that has never had a world title. That is my goal. Right. And so I really admire that. And I like that. And, yeah, I bought into it. Now, the one area that I will kind of say I'm having a hard time supporting Barry, Wedgwood can't stop a beach ball. And he's got David Riddick disease. Riddick 2 years ago killed this team down the stretch when he couldn't stop a beach ball. So I guess I'm asking the question, why do you let Lankinen go for Wedgwood?
We talked about that last year. I never understood that at all why they let Lankinen go. Right now, he's doing really great with Vancouver. He's found a spot there. He's fine. He likes being in Vancouver, and but I don't know. He was a solid backup, and I never understood. Never heard why. Never seen anything, but they just showed no interest in re-signing him. I know we talked about the show last year, that all this was going on. I just don't understand what happened with that. I really don't, because and Wedgwood, came with good credentials. And he has not lived up to the move has not been a positive for him by any means. So, but we talk about player situations, and this is one thing everybody knew about this long before training camp, is they didn't have a number 2 center, and everybody thought Colton Sissons could do it. Well, he hadn't done it. Now he's hurt, he's never hurt. I don't think he ever misses a game, and now he's missed a game and got hit in Washington on the hand with it. But so he's out, and then you've got Tommy Novak's out now. They're both and those are your backups at the number 2 spot. You don't even have them anymore. And so, and neither one of them, everybody thought Tommy Novak, this was going to be his year. And in spring and preseason games and preseason practice, he looked pretty good at times. Well, he hasn't come through once the game started either. So they need a number 2 center right now. They've got to make a move somewhere along the way. And the name that comes out right now is Dante Fabro. a lot of people feel like Fabro, who's been healthy scratched a lot this year. And he's a former number 1 draft pick in like 2016. And, but a lot of people feel he's the trade bait right now, to where they can maybe come up with somebody to fill that number 2 center spot, and maybe shake some things up, or he becomes, or maybe he's got Barry's got draft picks piled up. He's got some prospects in Milwaukee, or maybe they put together some kind of package of young players to fix things now. Because, like you say, he wants to bring a world title as soon as possible to Nashville, in this, so that might solve his problem from that standpoint. So a move has to be made of some sort. And I don't know the move right now.
I'm going to go down a path that most media people probably won't, but most of them weren't involved in 2007 in trying to keep the team here. I know the dollars and cents of hockey, and it's way different than football, where the Titans can have their crappy attitude toward the fans. They don't give a damn about the fans, and we all know it. The Predators, on the other hand, they have to have their season ticket holders. They have to have their ticket holders. TV money is nowhere near going to take care of what they need to take care of. Guy, to me, where all the bells and the alarms go off is just what you said a few minutes ago. If they come off that 5-game road trip that is part of the CMA Fest, where they head out west when the CMAs come in, if they come back to town and it's not any better, this season's over. How do you sell tickets for the next 4 months when in late November the public has figured out you got no chance?
And that's really true. They will not have a chance. I mean, the clock is clicking very loud right now. I mean, it's not just ticking; it's ticking loud, and it's going to be just a ear splitting if they come back 1-4 from that trip, or even 2 and 3. It's not going to be good, and they've got. And sometimes road trips like this, players get together, they have some time together, and sometimes this type of trip is perfect. They get out of town, they get away from everything, and really concentrate on just playing hockey, and that's all they deal with every day. And sometimes that can be a positive. I'm hoping that's the case with this team. They go out there and find themselves, and because all they're going to be doing is playing hockey, and that's all they're going to be worried about. We'll be worried about their families. We'll be worried about doing things at home or whatever. They'll be just out there, going to the rink, going to flying from town to town, going to morning skate, going to play games. It's all going to be about hockey, and I'm hoping that maybe focuses them and lets them hear what's going on. But I think, I'm like you though, I think that really bothers me. They don't go after loose pucks. They don't crash the net and give a goaltender something to worry about. They don't, it's kind of like when Barry used to talk about dirty goals. They don't get any dirty goals. You can't stand out there 15, 20 feet on the perimeter and shoot, hope it goes in. You've got to get up there and get gritty and start pushing some people around and threaten some people around the blue ice there. And they're not doing that.
Is there a worst case scenario where this costs Andrew Brunette his job?
Yeah, if they come back 0-5, yeah, or 1-4 even maybe. I think it cost him his job. But I think he's a good coach. I think that you don't want to pull the trigger too soon. But it's always easier, especially with all the veterans he's got and the contracts and stuff. It's always easier to get rid of a coach. But but I don't know right now that a coaching change is going to change this team. And Andrew's really, probably Andrew's coached too much with this team. He's switching lines around constantly. He's not giving them any chance to have any chemistry. A lot of it has to do with that number 2 center spot. But he's moving people around, and you've got to give these guys a chance to solidify and get together. And I think Scott, what I talked about the other day, sometimes you can have too much talent, and maybe this team just has too much talent, especially offensively.
Is there a scenario, if the worst case scenario turns out true, that what I put out 2 days ago is a possibility and that Barry Trotz ends up coaching this team? And I know if he heard this, he'd be furious that I have brought this up, but could it happen?
Well, I mean, he knows as much about the game that he's won Stanley Cup. He knows what it takes to do it, and so it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility. I wouldn't think it certainly would help him, as far as solving his problems go. But I mean, he would be. I imagine he's doing a lot of. He's looking over Andrew's shoulder pretty hard right now, anyway. But he knows the problems. They're out there. He like I said, he's going to have to make. I think they have to make a move or two. Nothing else, just to shake up everything, and just to change the. These guys keep on talking about, well, we're going to get better. We're going to get better. Things will get better. Well, they haven't yet. They haven't gotten better.
No, and the problem, as you know, is no, you can't win a playoff berth in November, but you can play yourself out of playoff contention.
And they're doing that right now. And it's really, they're probably, I would say probably, right now they're about the worst team in the league overall. And one of the few positives they do have is their special teams are doing pretty good. And which you expect to have Andrew Burnett, because he's a great power play guy and that type of thing. That's probably one of the few positives they have is their special teams are doing well. But other than that, I mean, the 5-on-5, they're a disaster sometimes offensively. They just don't seem to be able to. They just don't seem to anticipate where their teammates are. Or they like I said, they're not crashing the net. They're not getting into the middle of the ice. They're playing on the fringes on the perimeter. They're not getting into the middle. They're not crashing the net. They're hanging around, fighting for pucks and loose pucks and rebounds around the net. They're just not doing any of that. And especially, well, they do some, but they're not enough. Not doing it on a regular basis. They've got to be a more grittier team than they are now. And I don't know where that grit comes from right this moment, but they've got to find some way to get tougher. They're not
because
tough hockey.
There's none right now. Gee, I got to run. I appreciate your trying to explain this mess to me. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
If I could do it, I'd be the coach.
Hey, have a good weekend.
All right, George. See you later. All right, bye-bye.
Billy, what is it is DEFCON 1 the worst or DEFCON 5?
DEFCON 5.
They're at DEFCON 4.9.
They're awful.
Right now they are. And I hate it.
I never thought this could happen to begin this season.
This has been a real shocker. Okay, after the break, we're going to get into an event that is coming to town that you probably know nothing about, but we want to get the word out there because we're going to be involved in it a little bit. I'll leave it at that on 94.9 The Fan.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
On your way. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, excited about the ability to tell you about something that I think is going to be really good for our community. A high school basketball tournament right after Christmas, starting the day after Christmas, that will feature a bunch of teams from our area. With that in mind, I've asked Aaron Morrison to join us. Aaron, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, George. Excited to share some details about what we're doing with you regarding the Battle for Nashville.
Okay, so tell people what the Battle for Nashville is. It kind of sounds like you've taken it from the Battle for Atlantis, but kind of tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so what we're doing this year is that, for me personally, I've always had a passion for high school sports, high school basketball, coached for a long time, and been at different levels, and grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, and there's a tournament there called the Huntsville City Classic. It's been going on for 40-plus years, and it's always such a big deal to win that event. The best teams in the city play in it, and every year it's so competitive. It sells out, great environment, and a great venue, and Nashville just hasn't had anything like that. There was the next level tournament, which was phenomenal. That won't be happening anymore, so we kind of want to fill the void that was left with that. So what we're doing, the Battle for Nashville, is an 8-team event this year. So there's 8 teams participating. The local teams in the event are Brentwood Academy, who was your state runner-up in the top private school division last year. We have Independence, who's your 4A state champion. We have Briarcrest, who was your, Division II AA state champion. Pope Prep, who some people think is the favorite to win it this year in that class. Hume Fogg, who's a state tournament participant. BGA, who's the host and has a great team. Webb School in Bell Buckle. And then McAdory School in Birmingham, Alabama, who has a 6'6" wing that's committed to Tennessee Tech. And so we're excited about the 8 teams we've got this year. And the event will be at BGA, like you said, December 26th through 28th. And we're just fired up about what this event could be.
Obviously, that got my attention right off the bat when you told me it would be at BGA. And I think you knew that would sort of get my antennas perked up a little bit, but
right.
I have always loved the concept of adding more sporting events in our community. So one thing we have committed to do here on the George Plaster Show, we will broadcast our show the day after Christmas from the event to try to give it a little bit of a jump start. It is an awesome idea. I love the teams that you've got in it. And to me, this thing's got a chance down the road to be an absolute home run.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. I think the plan for the following year is to expand to 16 teams. Wanted to get a start with 8 and turn to 16 next year. There's a few schools that have already reached out, wanted to participate the following year. And I think we'll get – I apologize if there's a buzzer in the background. I'm watching Lenny Acuff and the Vikings practice right now.
Good for you.
I'm in the Hall of Fame room, so trying to get away from the noise a little bit. But no, I think we're going to expand to 16 the following year and continue to make this thing something that the community looks forward to on their calendar every year. We want to make it something where it's not just another high school basketball tournament. It's something that, breeds an environment that people want to come and be a part of. And we've got some great partners that we're excited to announce soon that are going to make this event an even better experience for the fans that participate, and then also for the programs that participate. Like, for instance, we're partnering with Synergy Sports, who's the cutting edge top tier for film breakdown and film access for all college basketball programs. And so we've partnered with them to record and capture the game, so college coaches can get on their Synergy account, pull up Brentwood Academy, see their 3 games from that weekend, see all the stats and data from those games of each player, and have the info on those players instantaneously without being there. And so we're going to promote that heavily as well to college coaches, so that those players have more visibility and exposure on that level as well, because that's a huge piece of it too, is we want to make it something where the players, they get some great games, they get some great competition, they get a great environment, but they also get a little bit more than that too for participating. And so we're trying to come up with great partners and form great partnerships to continue to elevate that experience for the fans, for the players, for the programs involved.
Aaron, the thing that I think excites me the most is the fact that it sounds like schools that you have contacted have jumped at the possibility of being a part of it.
Yeah, it seems that way. We've had just a little bit of background. Some of the coaches of these programs I've known for a long time, which is great. Sometimes things work out in your favor, and you have friends that do really cool things, and people that you know. And so, like Andy Blackson, who coaches at Brentwood Academy, was my high school coach back in Alabama back in 2007, 2008. And so I had a great relationship there. And, when you look at the top basketball programs in the state of Tennessee, Brentwood Academy is probably close to the top of everybody's list. And so that helps a lot in having relationships like that. Then when you call somebody else, you tell them that Brentwood Academy is involved, people's ears perk up a little bit, or that it's at BGA and their program's involved. And, and so that stuff helps. And people want to be a part of something that hopefully we can do something that people want to be a part of and that people will be proud of and proud to participate in. And so far it's been really well received.
Okay, so for a lot of people, they're hearing this for the first time, the battle for Nashville. How can they attend if they want to? And when is it? Where is it?
So it'll be December 26th, 27th, and 28th at Battleground Academy. The first games will tip off at 3, and we'll tip off every hour and a half until 7:30. The last game will tip off at 7:30. And for tickets, we're partnering with Recruitify to do our e-ticketing. And so we'll take cash at the door as well, but we'll have weekend passes available and session passes available for each day. The link to purchase tickets is live on our website and social media, which is battle-for-nashville.com. And then also you can find us on social media if you search Battle for Nashville. And in those links in our bio, you'll be able to see ticket links and then be able to purchase from there. They're live today to purchase for pre-purchase. Similar to a GoFan situation, but we're partnering with a company called Recruitify that's been a great partner. And so we'd love for as many people to attend and come check it out and support what we're doing.
Adam, we're excited to be involved in this. I think it's going to do nothing but get better and better. I love the plan that you've put together. I appreciate you reaching out to me, and let's get this thing going.
Well, I'm excited, George, and I'm honored that you took the time to talk with me today and are supporting what I'm doing.
Aaron, absolutely. Thanks for the call. Tell Lenny Acuff that I have a 2-word message for him. Go Braves.
Go Braves. I love it. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Tell him hello for me.
I will do that.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Aaron. Billy, it's going to be cool.
That is going to be cool. I did not know about that until the last week or so when you let me know about it. And yeah, there's some pretty good star power there with BA and BGA, of course, a team from Alabama, from Birmingham, like you said. So, and expanding to 16. And I didn't realize Next Level, the big tournament at CPA, that's what it's called, Next Level tournament?
Is that what it is?
It was right around Christmas every year. So good for him, good for Aaron, and good for everybody for making that happen.
Okay, after the break, I intend to make you some money. We've got a weekend full of games. I have not one, not two, but 7 plays. If you'll hit your SAP button, 7 is siete. This is 94.9 The Fan. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Companies, we help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Black Rabbit, located on 3rd Avenue, blocks from the Ryman, T-Pack, and Bridgestone Arena. Discover the allure of classic Nashville hospitality in a historic building where the open wood-fired kitchen is the focal point that brings a bygone era back to life. Now booking private holiday parties, Black Rabbit provides everything for an evening of craft cocktails, culinary delights, live music, and over 100 whiskeys. Go to 949thefan.com/deals to get a $50 gift card for $25. Do you want the best looking roof on the block? Imagine your home being the talk of the neighborhood with a brand new roof from Best Choice Roofing. Right now, they're bringing you their best promotion ever, 50% off roof installation. That's right, 50% off and 0 payments for 12 months. So you can have the sharpest looking roof without breaking the bank. Don't miss out. Dial pound 250 and say Best Choice or go to bestchoiceroofing.com/radio today.
Hello, everyone. This is Chris Eakes of Tennessee Prep Weekly, and we are back for another season. If you're a fan of high school football, then 94.9 The Fan is the place to be. This year, our show is airing on Monday nights at 7. Each week, Jacob Underwood and I will have an in-depth analysis from across the state with reports on teams, games, and players. Don't miss any of the action. Tune in every Monday night at 7 to Tennessee Prep Weekly, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office for the absolute best in high school football coverage. Only on 94.9 The Fan.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Palmateer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
Hi, this is Derek Mason, former Tennessee Titans Pro Bowl wide receiver. When I played, I worked hard to train my body, eat right, and practice to make sure I was prepared on game day. That's what vaccines do for our immune systems. Talk to your doctor about respiratory illnesses like flu, COVID, or RSV. Get the information you need to make an informed choice. Preparation keeps you in the game. So gear up, Tennessee.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics in Springfield at Northcrest Medical Center offers world-class orthopedic care. This location specializes in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder. Get back to enjoying life sooner by scheduling your appointment at tn.houston.com. Houston Clinic Orthopedics in Springfield is conveniently located at the Northcrest Medical Center. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a football Friday. Round one of the TSSAA state playoffs begin tonight. We'll have games rolling on for the next month or so until they end in Chattanooga. We've got a few college games tonight. No NFL, of course. Got a good college basketball game. We'll see where George is going with bets of the weekend. Brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Let's check out what happened over the weekend, last night, not the weekend yet. The Ravens -6 did not work out. And I tried to tell you, George.
Relax.
Should have listened to me.
Yeah, whatever. I got the first part of it right.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about ECU.
Yeah,
and
sure
and
you
Ravens
did.
at a pick 'em.
Yeah. So, Billy, I have 7 picks. I got to rumble through these. Here we go. I believe that LSU, because they're at home, and only because they're at home, will win and cover against Bama.
So do I.
Game number 2, the odds makers have taken Pitt's blowout loss at SMU and gone a little too far with it. In my opinion, there is no comparing the athletes from Pitt and Virginia. It's a big spread at 7.5. I think Pitt wins by at least double digits. Same story with Navy's blowout loss against Notre Dame. They're better than South Florida, and they will give the South Florida team a bunch of trouble with the triple option. Navy, not only to win, but to cover. Okay, here's one I believe heavily in.
The Holy War.
Utah's offense sucks. Now, they will play with a lot of spirit, and their defense will make it hard. But BYU is the better team, and they are the better team by, all of a sudden, a fairly significant amount. There is a ton on the line in this game. Tune it in at 9:15 because these teams hate each other. It's the most underrated rivalry in college football. Last but not least, yes, I know Missouri's backup quarterback is a real problem. No question about it. That said, they're an underdog at home to Oklahoma. I think they find a way to win.
I'm with you.
It may be that they have to do it on defense, may have to do it on special teams. Missouri hates Oklahoma. They were in the same league for a long time, and Oklahoma used to rub their nose in it. This is Missouri's chance at a little bit of payback.
Take the under while you're at it, too.
Yeah, probably
This game's going to be ugly.
Over-under could be about 13.
Yeah.
Okay, on the pro level, 2 games. The Cardinals have found something. I don't pretend to know what it is. I know they're on the rise, and I don't believe for a minute that JETS is. Take Arizona at home. The wrong team is favored. How about that? And then a 2-team teaser. The Chargers. I'd love to be wrong on this. Do I think the Titans are going out there and win? No. Neither do you.
No.
Kansas City at home against Denver. Tease them down to -2. You take those 7 bets, and Billy, you're going to make money. I rest my case.
I like those bets. I might just do that.
Really?
I might make some slight adjustments.
I'd be alone on Monday. Okay, we're done. If you're, even if you don't have a dog in the hunt, go see a high school game tonight because those kids may be your college stars of the future. Good night, everybody.
See y'all.
And by the way, it looks like night. It's depressing.
Already.
See ya.